Everybody, welcome to This Week in Location-Based Marketing. On today's show, McDonald's takes aim with Rovio's Angry Birds in China, plus a whole bunch of other news. And Square finally makes its way across the border to Canada, eh? And we've got news from Gigwalk, Yelp, and Yahoo. And, of course, our special guest, Ed Kaczmarek, Director of Innovation and Emerging Technology at Mondelez International. Oh, yeah, and I curse like a trucker. Here's the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to This Week in Location-Based Marketing. My name, Rob Woodbridge from Untethered.tv, and this is episode number 101. We're recording this live between Asif and I on October 28th. That's Sunday night. Game 4 of the World Series. I have no idea what the score is, but we're bringing you the 101st episode. And I'm live from Ottawa, and with me as always, my partner in crime, over there, whatever side.
Asif Khan from the Location-Based Marketing Association, still in Toronto, and I'm going to stay here because the Frankenstorm is about to hit. I was supposed to go to New York for the Street Fight Summit. Ain't going to happen. It's been postponed to January. But hey, we're here, 101.
101.
Right back on number 100, and we're continuing to roll on.
I was going to say, this is not Location-Based Marketing 101. This is, in fact, our 101st episode. And you know what I'm doing right now is I'm actually just pulling up the score. I had a panic attack there. I think, is this hurricane going to hit Detroit and cancel the World Series? And it's 1-0 Giants after the second inning. So, sweep. They must feel like my Yankees did. They must. It's like because they were screaming coming into this. They swept the Yankees. They dominated.
Overmatched, man. They're overmatched.
I don't know. Yeah, you think I don't know why they were favored. Detroit was, but I don't want to see the Detroit Tigers win. That's just the way I feel. I don't want to see them. I do not want to see the Detroit Tigers win. Well, welcome back, Asif. We had a quite a successful response to our 100th episode. What was very funny is that I had a lot of people come up to me and reach out and say, "Hey, I've never heard of you guys before." Oh, those are the quietest first 100 episodes that I've ever seen. That's what I kept on getting. Well, now that you found it.
Well, hey, it just means they have a chance to experience it, for the next 100, like completely fresh and anew. And we've been at it for a while.
We're much better.
We're seasoned veterans. It's a lot smoother than it was back in that first episode that you showed a little clip of.
Yeah, a lot smoother. I know. It was a. We certainly are. We're a little bit more at ease, a little bit more relaxed. But you know what? My standard response to all these guys who said that, hey, listen, I didn't even know you did 100 episodes. It's like if you haven't watched The Sopranos yet, right? If you haven't seen The West Wing ever, I envy you because you can just go and buy all the DVDs and all the episodes and watch them all together. You don't have to wait between episodes and seasons. Now, all you guys out there who maybe this is your second episode, there are 100 other ones that you can go and listen to. Like I'm so envious. You've got basically the next 3 months of content waiting for you. Go listen. It's like the box set. We'll do this week.
Yeah, we'll put out a box set soon.
Oh my goodness, can you imagine? Terrible. So the Frankenstorm.
As usual, we have an absolute jam-packed show again. And we go around the world, well, sort of around the world.
We do. We touch obviously the United States. We've got a little bit of Square action coming up to Canada. We've got McDonald's. Like this is basically going to be, I warn you, it's going to be the McDonald's hour because they are doing quite a bit when it comes to location-based marketing. You got a little bit of obviously a little bit of Facebook news, a little bit of Australian company called Boxtcode. We'll be talking about them. And then, of course, you've got your interview with Ed Kaczmarek, who's the Director of Innovation and Emerging Technology at Mondelez, which is what? Kraft?
Formerly Kraft Foods.
Formerly Kraft Foods. Got some great funding and acquisition news involving some of the big names like Yelp and even a little company called Yahoo making a little bit of acquisition, and certainly a company that we all know very well, Gigwalk, raising a little bit of money, and then a great resource, a whole bunch of rats, and how we understand direction. Because they've deciphered direction in the brain. I mean, that's what you get in an episode of This Week in Location-Based Marketing. It's insane. Around the world, and we're going to actually challenge your thinking process, which is awesome. Before we do that, though, Street Fight Mag, the Street Fight Summit has been canceled For those of you who don't know, if you are traveling out there, if you're on a plane or a bus or a train or in a car heading there, turn yourself around, head home, because it is not happening. And neither is M for Mobile, the Walt Mossberg's conference that was supposed to start actually on the 29th and go 29th and 30th. Everything pretty much in New York has been canceled.
Yeah. So just don't go.
Just don't go.
If you're in New York, stay in, and if you're planning on going there, stay home, because it's not worth it. But if you were going to Street Fight, it has been rescheduled. It's not completely a wash, but it's been rescheduled to January. And it will now be January 15th and 16th at the same location and as many of the same speakers and agenda as possible. So
that's okay.
There you go.
New York in January. Not quite as nice as New York in the fall, but New York in January. Should have done it in Barbados. I would have been there. All right. So is there anything that you are heading off to Singapore at the end of this week to basically oversee the launch of the LBMA Singapore edition?
Yes. So I'm heading out Friday. It's a 2-day trip, and so we launch officially on Monday in Singapore on the 5th, and with great fanfare and support from the local community, we're doing it jointly with Mobile Monday Singapore, which is why it's on Monday, along with the IDA, which is the economic development arm of the Singapore government, and a bunch of great companies, Wi-Find, Use, some companies we've talked about on this show before, all getting behind us, and I think we're going to have a great turnout.
That's great. You're there for how long, Asif? A week?
I'm there for the week, and then I'm off to London, actually, on the way back to Toronto, stopping into London, and doing another show there called the Local Social Summit, that'll be a bunch of the European community gathering as well. So, and the other thing too, I want to say to those of you who listen to this and are in the European market, we have starting this coming week. This show will be also available on gpsbusinessnews.com, which is based in Paris. And so they'll start carrying this, and that will hopefully open it up to a bigger market there. So I want to thank Ludovic Privé for doing that for us and bringing it to their audience as well.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about that. And if you you're out there, you're running a site, you want some content, we do. I mean, we'll syndicate this. We'll host the video for you, and all you have to do is just throw it up on your website. It gives people an opportunity to get a little bit more knowledge. And we'd implore you, reach out on tether@gmail.com, and I will provide you the code for the content. It is by appointment only, so please reach out that way. Throughout this whole trip, though, we guarantee that we will bring you episode number 102 from the road. I think it means that I have to stay up late, or you have to get up early, or something like that.
Something like that.
But
12-hour time.
Yeah, you know what? It could be interesting. I'll do it in my pajamas, or you do it in your pajamas. One of the two things. I mean, we're okay with this, I think.
Yeah.
But it is a packed show that we're going to be talking about, and we've got some great announcements that are going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks about what we're doing with This Week in Location-Based Marketing. It includes some sponsorship activity. We're bringing on some new sponsors, as well as a focus area. So we're really keen on this, and just stay tuned. That's a teaser. Stay tuned. I think you'll like where we're going with this thing. But in the meantime, let's get through with the show, because there is probably about 10 hours worth of content here, and we know that you don't have that much time. So you, the listener, the fine listener, we're going to dive into our top 5 stories. What do you say, Asif?
Let's do it.
All right, our first story. This is, would you consider this an exclusive? Would you consider this, this is firsthand information? This is a company that we've covered before called Lavahound, getting involved with Adidas and the upcoming New York City Marathon. Is that marathon still going to go on?
Well, the marathon is not this week. It's the following week. So it's a week out from now. So, yeah, I would assume it's going to go on. What is likely to be threatened is all of the sort of the promotion activities and the sort of charity runs and all the other stuff that happens this week to psych everybody up for the marathon. So
perfect.
So that's unfortunate, including what we're about to talk about now. I think will be somewhat affected by this. So yeah, Lavahound, a company we talked about a while ago out of Philadelphia area, a guy named Oliva, who runs this company, and I talked to him a few times over the little while. And so what they've done is they used to do some stuff that was kind of scavenger hunting and running around theme parks and kind of bookmarking experiences and really good stuff. And I remember we were positive on that back then. But they found a sort of a new niche here in partnering with some big brands, and in particular, they partnered with Adidas in New York City to create a scavenger hunt in Central Park that is centered around the New York Marathon, and so and also in partnership with local running shoe retail outlets. So in particular, they basically put a bunch of locations throughout the park that you have to go to. And using this app, you go and you collect, these rewards. Each one is worth $1. If you collect 20 of them, you have $20 worth of credit, and you can go and spend that at Urban Athletics, which is a store at 92nd and Madison, and basically use that towards the purchase of Adidas running shoes. So kind of interesting, kind of cool. Great fit-in theme with obviously the marathon happening a week later. So this runs from Monday, as in the 29th,
tomorrow.
Monday tomorrow. We're on the 28th tonight doing this, but runs throughout the week to the 2nd. So.
Well, it's pretty cool. So if you're interested in a little bit more information, I couldn't find any information about it, but if you go to lavahound.com and keep an eye out there, and I just briefly threw up the graphic that they provided us, which is pretty cool. So basically, it's Manhattan with a big outline of a shoe. Join the hunt. Pretty cool. So that's Lavahound,
and a shoe layered on top of Central Park.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and I'll pull it back up for those of you who are listening. You're missing so much here. Not only our video, but you're missing also this display. And if you see it, you look at it, and it actually has a little iPhone there as well, or a little smartphone right next to the shoe. But that's because that's location, right? That's why we talk about it. So Lavahound,
all right.
Lavahound.com. Very cool. Very cool. Anyways, that's what I think. All right, second story. This is a big one for us Canadians. We, the Canadian folk, up there in the Great Way North.
Something I've been begging for a while. I mean, I can't believe it's taken this long. I've been after these guys forever. As we've talked so many times about, we run events. The LBMA has local chapters. We run events. I'd love to use Square to process payment at those events. Haven't been able to do it up here until now.
Yeah.
So on this past Wednesday, they announced that Square is now available in Canada. Their first foray outside of the big bad US of A. And here we are, and it's exactly the same. 2.75% is the rate, iOS and Android app available. And this is just great news. And quite frankly, I was waiting for this. It came out. I went and I signed up. I'm supposed to get my free thing in a week or so. So I'm ready to go.
Well, a friend of mine who I interviewed on Untethered.tv, his name is Dom Cabal. He runs a company called End Product. He sent out a mysterious tweet while he was at an event a couple of weeks ago. Said, listen, Square, he's using his Square reader and he was using his PayPal reader, and so I reached out to him and he said that these were test devices for just for trials, and it ultimately obviously was a precursor to them going live in Canada. So I think it's great. One of the things that they talked about, though, in the article, at least the articles that I read about, is this whole swipe versus chip and pin, which up in Canada, we are beyond the swipe. We're now really, for the most part, into chip and pin for debit and credit cards. And we... this is an interesting play. They're going to have to do something along that line, but apparently the regulations are so horrific in order to be able to get that, be able to do a chip and pin where the machine has to be a unibody machine, single-purpose machine, and where this dongle, whatever dongle that they create, will not be that, because it is a connector to an iPhone, and the iPhone is a multi-purpose tool that in Europe, when they do this, all the other competing companies in Europe have to have a separate device that might connect by Bluetooth between that separate device that does the chip and pin reader and the phone itself. So it's not as smooth, as beautiful and elegant as the Square piece, but I think that this is where they have to do. They have to be up here in Canada and in Europe if they want to compete. And I'm interested to see what they have to do.
And I think it's it's good for Canada. I think it's I think this will drive a lot of small business transactions. I think for me this is something we've just been waiting for, and despite the prevalence of chip and pin in Canada, which is huge, there's still an underserved market there where chip and pin, it's just not ready for it yet.
Yeah, well, I'm with you. You. Well, whatever it is, yay, we get to finally see what all the hoopla is about Square up here in Canada. We are not forgotten. And I love the fact that they say, no, it's because it's an English country, but you forget that there's a huge population of French-speaking Quebecers in Canada, and especially in some of the biggest areas, the biggest markets like Montreal, like Ontario, like in Ottawa. These are bilingual cities, so the further out west you get, the more English it is, and the further east you get, the more French it is. So we are not Qype, nor are we just English. So whoever wrote that article at TechCrunch, do a little bit of research. All right, so that's big news. Big news here as well is that, what is this? Like, our third story is that McDonald's, like, are they the only fast food retailer that understand how to do this stuff with location-based marketing, Asif? Seems to be.
Well, they're certainly one of the ones that's really embracing it, and on a global scale, as we're about to hear here, on a number of different levels. They try a lot of things. I really give them credit for working with their agencies and pushing the boundaries on what can be done here. Obviously, I'm not going to go out and say they're the only one. I mean, we talked a little while ago, maybe a month ago, about Five Guys and their partnership with Kraft. The charity Feeding America. So stuff like that's cool.
But they're not partnering with Rovio.
This is a whole different level altogether. Yeah. So let's talk about it. So the first piece that I want to bring up is they announced a partnership in China. This is McDonald's in China, and the partnership is between McDonald's and Angry Birds, Rovio's Angry Birds. Okay, so. Not the first time that Angry Birds or Rovio, the company behind it, has gone and done location-based partnerships with retail. I talk about these guys all the time, and they partnered with Barnes and Noble about 2 years ago in the U.S. and great success around that. But what's interesting about this is that this is first of all, it's the Chinese market, which is a very different market for McDonald's. Number one, number two, there's two aspects to this. There's the idea of going into the physical retail location. And when you're there, you can get new levels of the game that you can't get anywhere else. So it's about being in the physical location that unlocks new value for the Angry Birds player. And two is there's another little game going on within the game, so to speak. And that is that all of the different McDonald's outlets throughout China are competing to be the one that, based on voting, that gets to have a giant Angry Birds slingshot in physical reality being built outside of the McDonald's, and have this slingshot and the bird being flown through the golden arches that's actually outside this particular.
Who gets to launch that?
This is pretty cool.
Who gets to launch that?
And they've been promoting this on TV. They've got commercials with Angry Birds sitting up on the golden arches and all kinds of crazy stuff. This is pretty neat.
They should have a competition to see who gets to actually launch the bird through the golden arches. I think whoever the 30 billionth person served is, or whatever it is. But McDonald's seems to be embracing this, which is pretty amazing. And do we see a lot of this stuff in North America, or is this really, 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 really focused in the European market and the Asian market? And why?
Yeah, well, certainly McDonald's. I would say McDonald's has been doing much more of this stuff in the European and Asian markets. I mean, way, way, way back when. I think somewhere around episode, 20. I'll say somewhere around there.
We're so young.
A long time ago, anyways. McDonald's in Sweden did a game on a giant digital screen in the public square in Stockholm, and where you're using your phone as a controller to play a game of Pong against another guy standing in the square, and the winner got a prize at the local McDonald's, as in free food. So they've been doing this stuff for a while, and they totally get it. So great stuff going on in China. want to quickly shift, in the interest of time, to one of our viewers, one of our listeners out there, a guy named Mikkel If Hansen, who is in Denmark, reached out to us this week and just to say thanks. Congrats on hitting 100 episodes. So thank you, first of all, for that. And I connected back with him after that, and I said, thank you so much for doing that. But what I really want to know is what's going on in Denmark? Like, are there great projects? Are there great stories that we should be sharing on here? And he wrote back right away, and he actually said, McDonald's is doing great stuff here, and he's with OMD, a big agency there, and OMD and DDB together worked with McDonald's in Denmark and are running a campaign called Coin Hunt in Denmark. And this was originally launched in September of 2011, and so it's continued on in successive campaigns. So they keep evolving it, making it a little bit better each time. But it's a scavenger hunt QR code type of campaign with some unique QR codes with images placed in them. And you basically have to find these images, scan them with a purpose-built app, collect these coins. There's 1 million coins that have been hidden around the country of Denmark out there. And so you go around, collect these coins, and they can be anywhere. They might be on a TV commercial. They might be on a printed menu in the restaurant. They might be on a transit shelter ad. And so it's completely multimedia as well. 160 outdoor posters, a number of different things going on here. And so you collect these coins. And so the example is collect 10 coins, and you go in, show your app that you got the 10 coins, and you get a free cheeseburger. So it's kind of interesting. I do like it. I like that it's completely multimedia. And again, McDonald's, Denmark. There it is.
I'm always floored by this. It's so simple. They have the reach, and I love the fact that that Denmark campaign reached 3.5% of the population. I mean, it skyrocketed through this. I mean, it was, this kind of innovation. It just does. It shows you that it doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't have to be worldwide. If you were a large organization, you can pinpoint and target the area that you want it to be at, and then you can actually let your franchisees, as McDonald's has, in the countries that they understand, because each market is different, do the things that they need to do to drive business for the restaurants. I like that. But McDonald's, we just spent 12 minutes talking about location-based marketing at McDonald's. Come on.
Hey.
What is that?
Send me a Big Mac.
No, don't. No, I'm not interested in that. No.
No.
So that's cool.
Right.
So the first one was Rovio, and the second one was this treasure hunt, China and Denmark. Wow.
What's here in North America, McDonald's has been for the last little while running their Monopoly campaign, right? Year after year, we get Monopoly in Canada and the U.S. anyways. McDonald's Monopoly. And it's cool, and I think a lot of people do it. I have no idea what the numbers are. I'm just talking off the top of my head now. But there's got to be a way to add mobile and location elements to that thing beyond what they do right now. I think it's ready for a serious upgrade.
Yes, like letting me win every once in a while. Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, McDonald's, China and McDonald's actually doing a lot of location-based work. I love it. These big brands are waking up. So speaking of big brands, here's a company that you may have heard of that had probably a record quarter that they certainly weren't happy with, but they had a record quarter anyways. It's a company called Apple. When did they launch the Find My Friends app? It's been like maybe about a year or so, right?
About a year,
okay.
Yeah, about a year. And so this is an interesting addition.
I like it. Stealth edition
to the app. Not a big story here, but an interesting characteristic, I'll call it, of the app. So, one of the challenges with these apps is that when you're doing location-based, trying to find the friends near you, or for family, and trying to track your teenagers, or whatever purpose you're using one of these apps for, it's one of the big challenges is everybody's got to have an iPhone, everybody's got to have be connected and have the thing turned on, or be close to a network. There's a bunch of issues all the time. And so they've added this little feature now where you can send location-based email alerts to basically find the people that you need. So effectively, what's happening here is if your friends or your family aren't on iCloud or aren't on an iOS device, is really what we're going after here. Okay. We're extending the functionality such that now we can reach those folks using location-based email notifications.
So what's the purpose of this? Like, what's it like? So you can, like, I have to set it up, right? So that basically what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to let people know when I leave a location. Is that how it works?
Yes, exactly. So this is closed network, circles of friends and family, right? So this is people that you want to know where you are right now, and people that you want them to share their location with you, and people that you'd like to let them know where you are at any given time. And up until now, the app has been limited to people that are in your network, but all have to be on an iOS platform. Okay. In order to do that. And so the idea here is simply, we can open this up now to anybody that you'd like to include in your network via location-based email notification.
Find My Friends now sends email, which makes it easier. You can be lazy and find your friends. All right, our fifth story, interesting story here. A company called Boxtcode, Boxtcode. Now, we talked about this briefly before we went live. It's one of those things where I went through it. I thought, oh, why in God's name would anybody do this? And then I thought, I saw the video. I said, yeah, this might make sense. And then at the end of it, I thought, again, I'm back to the whole, why in God's name would anybody do this? But why don't you explain what Boxtcode is out of Australia, and then maybe we can have that eternal debate on whether or not this is of any value.
Yeah, so Boxtcode is a 4-digit code that is published on various types of media. It could be in television, it could be on a print ad, it could be on a bus, it could be anywhere, quite frankly. And it's intended to be an alternative to QR codes. The argument that they're making here with Boxtcode is that any brand can set one of these up. You can come up with them in 10 seconds, print them on anything you want, and take them to any destination that you want. When somebody enters this code, it's app driven, so you have to download the Boxtcode app and enter these codes into the app. But the difference here, or the angle that they're going after, is that while QR is okay, and by the way, the Boxtcode app can also scan QR. I should make that point. But while QR is okay, it's challenging in the sense that in media that's in movement, like if it's a print ad on a bus, or if it's on a digital screen, or on a television commercial, or what have you, you may not have time to pull out your phone and scan a QR code because it's gone by the time you do that. And so whereas a Boxtcode, a 4-digit code, you can see that, you can remember it, you can enter it really fast into here. And then it takes you to wherever, the destination the brand wants you to go to from that perspective. An interesting concept. I think it actually has some merit. They seem to be getting some pretty good traction already with this. So, yeah, for me, this is, it could work.
Yeah, I think it could work, and I don't have a doubt that it could work. But what about traditional texting and short codes and those things that don't require me to download an app? And that's what it's about simplicity. If you want your customers to download an app, remember we've talked about this throughout I think the first 100 episodes around brands not really interested in sharing their brands anymore. You know what I mean? Like, they want to own that, and I think that here's another one, is that if I'm promoting Boxtcode to download that app, is it me promoting that app for you? Is that the only place that you can get deals? Is that the only way that you can interact with my brand? And if so, I'd rather do something with text messaging or short codes or Zoom or something like that that makes it easy.
Yeah, and I think I'm a big fan of SMS. I think it's huge. I think there's a lot of merit there. I think there's a difference, though, between what Boxtcode is offering and what SMS can offer to these brands. So, SMS is great, and obviously, you can do, geofencing of SMS, but there's a cost that comes with SMS in terms of, premium codes, short codes, cost per message transacted, all that kind of stuff. That cost isn't really here in the Boxtcode scenario, right? You don't have the same, per message codes. You don't have the same premium, short code acquisition costs. You don't have that kind of stuff. And the other thing is Boxtcode is a brand, like, one of the examples I saw that they've done some work with Volvo. So a brand can basically acquire a single 4-digit box code, place that in various media around all of Australia, anywhere, and somebody in Melbourne might enter that box code and be taken to a different destination than somebody who enters the same box code in Sydney or Perth or anywhere else. So the destination is triggered based on geo-targeting as well.
Yeah, and I think that's it's like a mix of everything, right? And they seem to be well dispersed throughout Australia, and maybe that's what their play is here. I just, I think that this is an interim step. What they're doing here is the gap filler, and who knows? Like, you'll see in some of the acquisition talk that in our acquisition and funding section, that a lot of this could be gap filler. I think that's where we're in right now, right? 2011, 2012, and 2013 are filling the gap till we really start to take this seriously. But for me, Boxtcode, it's not something that I think I can recommend. But you seem to be optimistic about it, so please. If you're interested go to boxtcode.com, boxtcode.com. And if you are from Boxtcode, I'll stay up late. We can get you on the show. You can come and tell me I'm wrong.
Absolutely, yeah.
Please.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great companies in Australia too, and we one of the things that we have been talking about with the LBMA is as we're moving into Singapore and starting to get that entry into the Asian market, Australia is not that far away from there, and it won't be long before there's LBMA in Australia. Nice. So we're always looking for these kinds of innovative companies, and we'll see what's next.
I think it's great.
Anyhow, that's our stories for
those are the 5. Lavahound Square coming to Canada. I should have videotaped my son singing "O Canada" in French today. It would have been the perfect outro for this episode. But they're coming to Canada. Rovio and McDonald's everywhere doing everything with location-based marketing. Find My Friends now allows you to email yourself, just to remind you that you've left, or email others, actually. And the launch of Boxtcode in Australia. If your story's not up there, why not? God, why not? Reach out on tether@gmail.com or asif@thelbma.com. We'll get your show. We'll get your piece of news up there, sandwiched in there between there. I have a good example of that next week. I got a great lineup for some local Canadian news as well that I'll fill Asif in on a little later. So those are the top 5 stories. Now, before we get to Ed and your interview, I had a great email this week, and I wanted to bring it up. Do you mind if I do that, Asif?
Yeah, please do.
All right. Let me see if I remember how to do this. Here we go. So this is an email from Mayar Atashi. My apologies, Mayar, if I didn't get that right. But this was a message that came in earlier this week. It says, "Hey, Rob, I just watched the 100th episode of of This Week in Location-Based Marketing. It's the first time that I watched the podcast, and I truly enjoyed it. It's interesting that I first heard about the LBMA while I was watching an interview of Asif. Way to go, Asif. In one of the HSMA interviews on YouTube. I love the news that you guys give about cutting-edge innovation, and I shared it with my friends. Keep your good job. Keep up the good job. We truly appreciate it. Yours, Mayar." Mayar, buddy, we completely appreciate it. Thank you so much for sending that email.
We absolutely do. So thanks so much for the encouragement. We love getting that kind of stuff.
Boy, do we ever. We're getting more and more and more of it, and we can never get too much. Trust me, we can never get... My mother never complimented me when I was young, so please bring it. What about you, Asif? Should we just turn this into about us? No.
No, I think we better go on, because we still have a lot to cover, and
we do.
We got to respect people's time.
We have Ed. We have Ed Kaczmarek, Director of Innovation and Emerging Technology at Mondelez, as our guest. Why don't you throw us to Ed? What was this is an interesting play, because they used to be Kraft, and now they're this company that Kraft rolls off the tongue. Mondelez, maybe not so much.
Mondelez International.
Yes.
So just to set this up, Ed Kaczmarek, Director of Innovation and Emerging Technology at Mondelez, and he's going to talk a little bit about that on this video. But the key here is that, and why I wanted to bring this to you on this episode is Mondelez has launched a program called Mobile Futures, okay? And it's called Mobile Futures, the future in 90 days. And effectively what they've done is they said, look, we are running a incubation program, a 90-day incubator program. We're looking for cool, crazy startups out there. They've assembled a phenomenal network of venture capitalists and association partners like ourselves and the Mobile Marketing Association. But you know, AT&T AdWorks, Intel Capital, First Round Capital, Blue Round Ventures, Kick Labs, Pre-Hype, all these guys are involved. Sandbox Industries, and effectively, there's a deadline quickly approaching on this. So I wanted to get this to people as soon as possible. If you're watching this show, you've got a great startup, mobilefutures.com, or contact me at the LBMA, and I can help you figure out whether or not you qualify for this. It's just a great way to get out there and maybe get some funding and get Kraft or Mondelez as a pilot. There you go.
So here
it is.
Here's Ed.
Ed Kaczmarek. Well, it's that time again where we get to bring a special guest on the show, and this week it's Ed Kaczmarek, who's Director of Innovation and Emerging Technologies for Mondelez International. Ed, welcome to This Week in Location-Based Marketing.
Thank you very, very much. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so maybe just to kick things off, you know, Mondelez International, that's not a name that many people are all that familiar with yet. Who are you guys?
No, indeed. Mondelez International just recently emerged from what was Kraft Foods, and we are now the global snacks powerhouse with business in over 80 countries with $36 billion in revenue, with some of the most beloved brands in the world, such as Oreo, Wheat Thins, Triscuit, Ritz, Chips Ahoy, Cadbury, Milka, Côte d'Or, to name a few.
Just a few little brands there, right? So, all right, you know, maybe just keep things light for a second. Do you rip apart the Oreos and eat the inside first? Come on.
You know what? I eat the whole. I sometimes twist, lick, and dunk just for the fun of it. But right. I'm definitely, I love both parts equally.
Okay, so one of the things that, the reason I wanted to get you on the show this week, and it's very timely, is you guys have just announced a program called Mobile Futures. Can you tell us a little bit about what that program is, and maybe, you know, why are you doing it in the first place? Sure.
Well, you know, I think first and foremost, you know, we've been experimenting and doing a lot of pilots with mobile over the last 3 years, and we really believe the power of mobile to be a very strategic consumer touch point to connect and engage with the consumer closer to the point of purchase, and to really, you know, solidify and develop a relationship with the consumer and drive loyalty.
Okay. And so this program is really a way to sort of help you find more innovation out in the marketplace, identify new technologies. You know, what are sort of the objectives that you're going after here?
Sure. You know what? You know, really with Mobile Futures, we believe that it starts and ends with mobile startups, because that is really where, you know, all the innovation is occurring, or with the entrepreneurs running these mobile startup companies. And, you know, what we hope to do is to, you know, through startups submitting into the process, you know, we hope to align the right startups with our different brands participating. And ultimately what we want to do is work and develop and get brand pilots in market within 90 days. And, you know, we're focusing on 3 different areas, all which, you know, definitely, you know, align with the Location-Based Marketing Association, Solo-Mo, because we really feel that there's an opportunity, you know, to drive impulse purchases, you know, by connecting the brand, you know, with Solo-Mo. Also social TV with the connected experiences, and really mobile at retail, the whole path to purchase, you know, of which location plays a very large part. And then the second phase of Mobile Futures we're actually going, to spur entrepreneurship within the organization and look to develop new ventures that are born out of Mondelez International that answer problems and bigger business challenges that aren't being currently answered in the market.
Okay, no, fair enough. And I mean, I think that's a fantastic way for a brand powerhouse like yourselves to kind of go about for me anyways, identifying great technologies. We saw the last couple of years Pepsi's been doing a lot of that kind of stuff with their Pepsi 10 program and others, and I think these are the kinds of things that brands need to be doing to stay innovative. So just to reiterate what you said, mobile at retail, social TV, and solo-mo are kind of the key categories that you're going after. Maybe just to share a little bit with those who might be listening and might be thinking, hey, this is something that I could participate in. You have to be less than 4 years old to qualify. You have to have a working technology in the marketplace already. And you either have to have received outside funding of $1 million or been already accepted to an incubator program. To participate. Is that correct?
Yes, and of course, play in one of those 3 mobile focus areas, which we just detailed.
Yeah. Very, very good. And there's some fantastic partners that you've put together around this. I mean, obviously, we're happy to be a part of it, but there's some great venture capital organizations and incubators and other associations that are playing in this. So I think it's for anyone who gets involved, it looks like there's a lot of resources and a lot of help behind it to kind of pull it all together.
And what we really want to do is we want this to be a big win for the mobile startups that are participating as well, because ultimately each of the brand pilots that we put into market within 90 days, we're going to be paying the mobile startups for. And, it's a great opportunity for them to scale quickly, get a live case study. And what we're also doing, to help increase their business is we're also going to be sharing our consumer insights, with them, which we hope will help grow their business as well. And then, as you said, with the partner network, we're willing to make introductions, into some of those partners such as Viacom, AT&T, a lot of the accelerators. And as you said, we have a lot of VCs and seed funders, included in that partner network, as well as LBMA.
Awesome. So maybe just to close things out, for those who are interested in getting involved in Mobile Futures, the startups that are potentially listening this morning to this, or in the evening, or wherever you are right now in the world, in fact, this is a U.S. program at the moment only, correct?
Correct. It is a U.S. focused program, and we hope eventually that it will move to other countries. And if you're interested in submitting or you want to get more information, you can go to mobilefutures.com, and the submission process is opened through November the 9th.
There you go. You heard it here on This Week in Location-Based Marketing from the man himself, Ed Kaczmarek, Director of Innovation and Emerging Technologies for Mondelez International. Ed, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing with our audience today.
Thank you very, very much.
So there you have it. Ed Kaczmarek, thanks to Ed again for doing that. And again, if you're listening and you're a startup, I encourage you to go to mobilefutures.com and apply for that program. It's a phenomenal program. Or if you have questions, feel free to ask me, or reach out to anybody associated with that program, and I'm sure they'll get back to you right away. So there you go.
Yes, thank you, Ed, for doing this, for coming on, for sharing some time, some insight, and go to mobilefutures.com and, of course, Mondelezinternational.com. You've seen both of their websites up here. Really appreciate you taking the time, Ed. Thank you. It's quality guests. Like, they're getting, like, the bar is set now, isn't it? It's crazy.
Yeah, we've had some really, really good guests lately. So, and there's quite a few more lined up over the next little while. After 100 episodes, Robbie, we got to kick it up, a few notches, right?
That's right.
So there you go.
We have to bring some people in. All right. Well, speaking of people, speaking of some dollars, let's talk about the people that are getting rich, shall we? Why not?
Yeah.
Funding.
It's not us, so let's talk about other people.
Funding and M&A activity. 3 stories. 1 funding, 2 acquisitions. We're going to start off with the funding because it's easy. It's a company that we've actually covered quite a bit on This Week in Location-Based Marketing. I actually sat down with one of the founders, Ariel Seidman, on Untether.tv. The company is called Gigwalk. They raised a cool $6 million. Talk about that. Good, bad?
Well, I think it's good. It's becoming a crowded space. I mean, this whole idea of sort of mobile workforces and location-based job markets. We got Gigwalk, we got Zarly, we got TaskRabbit, we got there's a lot of players all getting money. It's a hot market. You have a U.S. economy in particular that is still struggling. So anything you can do to create jobs for the unemployed, underemployed, wish to be employed, whatever you want to call them, I think these are good things. So $6 million, it's going to help them expand a little bit. I think they're looking from one conversation I saw to go international as well. We'll see if that happens. Ariel is no longer there. He's moved on to some other projects. Not sure what those other projects are. And Bob Bhairampur who was VP BizDev, is taking over now.
CEO.
So as CEO.
Well, this is I love these companies that can move economies, and that's what these guys can do. It's a $6 million. I just think, take the $6 million and go and give $100,000 to 60 families. That would do well too, wouldn't it? Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know. It's a whole thing about
might be some tax implications to that. I don't know.
Something about fishing.
Depends if Romney's plan or Obama's plan.
We don't know yet. That's right.
Nobody really has a plan though. So.
Well, yeah, it's like something about fishing, lead them to fish or teach them to fish or something. I don't know. Anyway, so Gigwalk raises $6 million.
Gigwalk, $6 million. And by the way, that's coming from August Capital.
Yeah. No, it's good. I like these guys. I know that they've had done 200,000 gigs, 180,000 people have participated in this, and they've just moved up into Canada. What's with this? Canada is finally getting these services, right? Which is great. I'll do a call out to Greg Grunberg at Yowza. Hey, Greg, get Yowza up here into Canada. We'll cover you. How's that?
Let's do it.
All right, second story. Hey, talk about can't beat them, buy them, right? That's what Yelp did to Qype.
That's indeed what they did. $50 million is the size of this deal. Qype is one of the powerhouses as far as review sites in the European market. It's a public company, from what I can tell. $18.6 million dollars in euros. 970,000 shares out there. Class A common stock. And this is pretty cool. So Qype's based in Germany, and they operate in about 19 countries as well now with this combination with Yelp. So this is good for Yelp. I mean, Yelp has to do something. I think they're struggling in the U.S. market. Lots of competition coming from Foursquare and others. And, it's about as good a time as any to kind of broaden that base and go international. And why build when you can buy?
Yeah, well, if the opportunity is there to buy a company that's established and entrenched, we've talked about this, maybe not a niche like Europe, but it seems like these guys were always a step ahead of Yelp. So instead of Yelp just scrambling, right? Like it's that whole RIM mentality. Okay, we'll just claw our way to where Apple is today. And then by the time they get there, it's like Apple's a year ahead, right? So why not just buy the company and get it over with? And they did. And this is a formidable acquisition. And I think the acquisition price was actually a good price at $50 million because Qype had received, $23 million. So this is a 2x return from their investors. The owners, the founders had taken some money out of that first round. So, I think that they got the price. I got the price that they just couldn't say no to. It would have cost them a lot more to do this. So there's a point of no return. So
yeah. It's about right too. I mean, it's a sizable company in comparison.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was looking here in the numbers. Yelp has about 30 million reviews on the site, 78 million unique monthly visitors, and they were talking about Qype having 15 million monthly unique visitors. So pretty good addition there. In terms of base and overall people visiting the collective. Now.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, good. That's how you do it. Build a company like Qype, get bought by Yelp. Our last story, another acquisition, Yahoo, and certainly Marissa Mayer making her, coming back off of parental leave, just had a child, took a couple of weeks off, and then right back at it. First thing she does, stands up in front of, does her quarterly earnings call and says, look, mobile is where we got to go. We are a disjointed brand in mobile, 73 different applications. That is our future. What does she do the day after that? Well, she announces the acquisition of a company called Stamped.
Yeah, I'm a bit unsure on this one, to be honest. It's I like Stamped. I think Stamped is a good company, and was doing some interesting things. What I'm concerned about here is they said, right in this announcement that the Stamped app will be discontinued, and so what are they really buying here? Is this another talent acquisition, as we saw with Facebook buying Gowalla? Is it one of those kinds of things? For me, it seems like it's really just one friend supporting a bunch of buddies, and quite frankly, that's how I see this, because they all, Marissa was at Google for the longest time. The guys who run Stamped were buddies of hers, also at Google at one point in time. They had raised $3 million, Stamped that is, from Bain and Google Ventures previously.
Yeah, and so, like Ryan Seacrest.
This is an all in the family kind of play. Just Marissa, saying, hey boys, I miss you. I want you back on my team. Here's some money. Come on in.
Well, they also got a investment, I think, from Ryan Seacrest and Ellen DeGeneres, and for $3 million. This is a 10 million plus acquisition, acqui-hire. They immediately went out there and said, listen, we're discontinuing this application. Here's all your data. Go and take it down. We are setting up officially the Yahoo mobile office, and we're going to come up with a Yahoo strategy. And I think like the guy Robbie Stein, who started the company, like, good man, good for you. Take the money, put it in your pocket. I'm glad you got some stability, but fuck off. Like, and I mean that with all sincerity. I'm so tired of these companies taking users and having the users input their data, having the users commit to this, turning it into success, trying to create some value in these networks. And then what do? They take the first goddamn offer. They're not committed to growing the business, and they hollow out those businesses. And what do? They go and take a job with Google. That's bullshit. You know what? And I think that this is going to hurt the industry more than anything else, is these greedy little pricks who just want the money, who don't want to build a business. So Robbie Stein, take your 10 mil and fuck off. Silence.
There you go. I got nothing else to add to that.
It pisses me off, man. We've seen it so many times. These companies, like Milk, like Gowalla, where you've committed to this platform, and what do you do at the end? You get a whole bunch of data that's useless to you, right? People have put their heart and soul.
Without question. I mean, we've seen this time and time again. When these types of acquisitions happen, the user community that built that company, built that base, goes up in arms, because what happens to my data? I don't want Yahoo having that data. I don't want Facebook having that data. I don't want So we'll see what happens here, but I'm sure there's going to be some pushback from the user base.
I hope so. I hope raise your arms against these guys who just want to pillage. It's a gold rush, man, and I can't wait for this whole thing to just die, and then the real companies emerge.
All right.
It's not going to be Yahoo. All right, so those are the three things. Funding, Gigwalk closes $6 million. Innovative company. Yelp buying Qype. Qype, innovative company, found a market, found a niche, and then held out and actually out-innovated Yelp in Europe. And then Stamped. And that's all they get. If your news was not in there, if your funding was not in there, if you actually decided to take the money and run, hey, if you want to be slammed on this show, come on. It's all in jest. It's all fun. I'm just a little jealous that guy closed $10 million plus. But reach out, untether@gmail.com or asif@thelbma.com, and we will put your story in there instead of Stamped. How's that? Come on. Come on. All right, one last thing. I'm a little crotchety. I'm not feeling very well today. That's the challenge here. So, my apologies for swearing so much, but you just got me, Ugh. But let's talk about this. Our resource of the week, Asif. This is a pretty damn cool resource of the week. You pulled this one out of left field, right?
Well, you know, I wanted to change it up a little bit, right? You know, we always have, you know, these reports that come out that talk about, you know, ad rates and mobile, you know, projections and this, that, and the other thing. And I said, you know what? I came across this article, and it's in Neuroscience magazine, okay, of all places. Okay, and I'll be the first guy to say I don't read Neuroscience magazine every week or every month
or ever.
But I did read this article, and this was really interesting. So the article says scientists decode how the brain senses direction and location. And it goes through a bunch of things. These scientists at Dartmouth College did some testing on the brain, and they've identified the cells that kind of figure out how we work as people, and how we figure out direction and location where we are. So they've identified some cells in there that they call place cells, and these cells work to establish location relative to landmarks or cues in our environment. And then the place cells are found in the hippocampus region. So, you know, I don't want to get too technical here. I do have
already lost me,
who, by the way, is you know, genetic engineering professor at University of Toronto. So I do know a little bit about this stuff. But anyhow, she told me that I got to know about the hippocampus and the thalamus as well. But anyways, I'll get off that stuff. Bottom line is if you're out there building stuff, if you're building apps and you're building Google goggles and you're building all this kind of crazy stuff, okay, just take a minute, read this thing, and kind of think about how our brains work, because these people know how our brains work. And it might factor into, you know, how you're building your apps and how you're building your augmented reality 3D glasses and all that kind of stuff. There's some pretty smart people out there.
Yeah, no doubt. The brain is fascinating, and you know, you're not just attacking one need, you're actually attacking a couple here. And if you don't understand how they interact with each other, yeah, maybe you'll, you might not succeed. So understand this. It's called Scientists Decode How the Brain Senses Direction and Location. Just do a search for that, or just follow the link here on Untethered.tv in the show notes, or wherever you got this podcast. All right. I've calmed down, but that's the end of the show. So it's perfect timing to calm down, Asif. What a show, man.
Yeah,
what a show.
There you go.
Episode number 101 in the books. Now, you're heading off on Friday. We will definitely record number 102. I want to say a huge hello to Street Fight Mag for great syndication partners for This Week in Location-Based Marketing. And, of course, our brand new syndication partner, GPS Business News. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. And if you are there, if you are here as a result of them, we really appreciate our new audience. Thank you so much. And we'd love some feedback from you as well. And is there anything else? Am I missing anything?
No, I think we hit all the key points. You know, there's plenty of new stuff coming down pipe, as Rob alluded to. So stay tuned. The next 100 episodes are going to be even better than the first.
They certainly are. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week for episode number 102, probably from Singapore, which is going to be very cool.
Yes.
We'll get a good perspective from Asif and what he's doing out there. And then the one after that will probably be from London. This is such an international, so it's killing me. It's killing me. But until then, thank you guys for watching wherever you are, whatever you are doing. We really appreciate it. We appreciate that you hang with us, that you've actually made it this far into the show. We'll see you next time for episode number 102. Asif, safe travels, man. Land safely in Singapore.
Cheers.
See everybody.
Thanks.